Hi, I'd like to introduce myself. My name is Travis Scott. I would like to start out by saying I was born and raised in Denver, Colorado. This is also where my parents were born and raised. There's a kind of an ironic story about my parents, when and where they were raised. My grandparents actually lived across the street from each other on Galapagos in Inglewood, Colorado. Inglewood is like Beech Grove to Indianapolis. So it's kind of inside Denver, like Beech Grove is inside Indianapolis. So they grew up living across the street from each other. They actually went out together clear through high school. They were high school sweethearts. They got married right out of school. The ironic, or the cherry on top of this story, is actually the fact that they were, not only did they live across the street from each other and grow up and were raised together in that, but they were also born in the same hospital on the same day, only 2 hours apart. So they both have the same birthday. Of course, my mom's 2 hours older than my dad, so that was always a family joke. I grew up with my mom and my grandparents. We had a huge family, and at one time I really had a good childhood between Denver and a small town. My mom later moved to Fort Morgan, Colorado, which is 80 miles east of Denver on I-70. So I was also an Inglewood Pirate and then also a Fort Morgan Mustang. There in Fort Morgan, I grew up with my mom and my grandparents. My first job at age 15 was with a local radio station. It was KFTM KBRU. It was a dual-cast AM/FM station. AM was country and the FM was an oldies format. We had a listenership of approximately 56,000 people. I enjoyed this work, and by the time I was 16 years old, I had my own live air show. I was on the radio. We did custom shows like Swap Shop. You could call in and actually advertise your items for free. It was our version of the on-air garage sale. I graduated high school there and went to Denver Technical College for sports medicine technology. I was doing fairly well in school, and that led me to a job in the private prison industry. I was actually having a sports medicine background, I was trying to get the recreation director position, and I was beat out by a gentleman, Tyrone Whipple. It was more of a PR position, and he used to be with the Kansas City Chiefs. He broke his ankle and had dropped the contract, and he was the best man for that job. Subsequently, they hired me as a counselor, though. We treated sex offenders and violent offenders in a maximum security environment. So I did that for 13 years. While doing that, though, my interest was really in the FBI or the U.S. Marshal Service. So I went and took the civil service exam. I did good on that, but the recruiter said that there was about a 2-year wait, and that was, just to get the interview. That wasn't actually there was no guarantee that you were going to get hired that way. That was just to get the interview and to start the process or whatever. He said, except if you had veteran status. Well, my grandfather, actually my great-grandfather, my grandfather, and my father have all served. My father was in the Army, and my great-grandfather and my grandfather were Marines. So I joined the Marine Corps. At that time, it was a 4th-generation Marine, and my intentions were to do 4 and out the door, and then back into the FBI or the U.S. Marshals. While in the Marines, I was actually injured in Kosovo. We were on the 26th Marine Expeditionary Unit. We were called out, and I had a little unfortunate accident there. So they sent me back to Camp Lejeune, and that's where I completed physical rehab and physical therapy and went through the processes and that kind of brings me to you guys. There's a little beach outside of Camp Lejeune called Onslow, and that's where I met my beautiful wife. So I had my mom, she passed away from cancer while I was in the Marine Corps, and so men move where their wives are. So we moved here to Newcastle, Indiana, and here's where we have 4 beautiful children, Daniel and Sierra, Titus and Trey. I'd also like to make mention of Daniel, who is now in boot camp for the 75th Ranger Battalion in Fort Benning, Georgia. So he's also following suit till the 5th generation service member in our family. Like I said, we live here in Newcastle. We also run a small pit bull kennel. It's American Pit Bull Terriers. Our kennel is called the Bully Compound. I've since officially been medically retired from the Marines and now classified disabled American veteran. I've also worked here locally as a manufacturing production supervisor for Chrysler, then bought out by Metaldyne. They both went under, and Belden Wire and Cable. With the economy, it all took a downturn. All these companies have gone under, and that kind of also brings me to you and to Ivy Tech, I guess. I'm now going back to school for computer information security, also the network administrator certificate and associate degree. Just to get away from the manufacturing sector. I'd like to thank all of you at this time for listening to my story, and it's been a pleasure, and it will be a pleasure to be in class with you. Thank you.